Hello there and a very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dasni Athada. Let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
Former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, P. Samarasiri, Chairman of PTL, Jeffrey Aloysius, and 3 others remanded over the bond scam. Scheduled power outages to commence from today. University student protests cause heavy traffic in Colombo. Bus accident in Bulletin kills 3, 5 injured in another accident in Gampola.
In local news, heavy traffic was reported along Colombo Fort and surrounding areas this evening due to a protest staged by university students in Colombo.
This demonstration that was organised by the Inter-University Students' Federation commenced from the University of California and reached Colombo Fort through Baseline Road. The demonstration was staged to protest against the government for not initiating any steps to address the prevailing issues in universities and to voice their opposition against the Counter-Terrorism Act.
We're right here under the shade of the boat tree here near the Fort Railway Station, where we are in the aftermath of yet another protest by the Inter-University Students' Federation. This time the students protested and they marched from California to here, the heart of Colombo, demanding that local schools be given the due support and not have the private schools be nurtured and more empowered than the local schools. They allege that the government is going to put forward a cabinet paper which will actually promote private school education while what they call destroying the local education system. We'll have to wait and see what the government's response to this is. The Education Ministry has not as yet responded to these allegations. The cabinet paper has also not been put forward. Newsfirst, as usual, will be at the forefront of bringing you the very latest from the IUSF and their protest. Stay tuned for more on this story. I'm Deshan Gonawala for the Newsfirst team.
3 people were killed when a bus heading back from Nuwara to Ampara faced with an accident near the Mahauva Kovil in Ragala, Kandy. The accident occurred around 7 last night. A group heading back from Nuwara to Ampara met with this accident. Our correspondent said that around 50 people were travelling in the bus at the time of the accident. Sources said the injured are currently receiving treatment at the Nuwara hospital. A 30-year-old man, a 10-year-old child and a 38-year-old pregnant mother was killed in the accident. A protest was staged by the residents in the surrounding areas for over 2 hours by blocking the roads, charging that such accidents occur frequently in this area and authorities have yet not taken any action towards it. The protesters dispersed after the Assistant Superintendent of Police of the Valapane Division, Anuruddha Bandaranayake, vowed to take necessary measures to fix the issue. Meanwhile, 5 people were injured in an accident which occurred at the Gampola bus stand this evening. The victims were later rushed to the Gampola hospital. The accident occurred after a pickup truck heading from Kandy to Thalawakale rammed onto pedestrians, and the cause of the accident was the driver falling asleep behind the wheel, and among the victims was a 12-year-old child as well. The victims were later rushed to the Gampaha Teaching Hospital and the driver of the cab was later arrested, and police are still continuing further investigations. A 3-wheeler went up in flames along the road opposite the Nelumpokuna Theatre in Colombo today. The Police suspect the fire was a result of a technical fault in the vehicle. The three-wheeler was completely destroyed in the fire. The owner of the vehicle clarified on what happened.
I stopped the vehicle and moved to the side of the road. One person who was walking on the road said, "Your vehicle is on fire." We moved the vehicle to the side of the road so that it does not damage any other vehicles. After that, the fire was doused.
A three-wheeler travelling from Nawalapitia to Kadiyanlena was completely destroyed in a fire on the 19th of this month. A clothing store in Vattala was completely destroyed in a fire yesterday. According to our correspondent, smoke was rising from the building even this morning. Steps were taken to implement the scheduled power cuts announced by the CEB starting from today. The CEB's regulatory body, the Public Utilities Commission, said that legal action will be taken against the move as it was implemented without permission.
The Ceylon Electricity Board cut the power supply for 3 hours during the day and 1 hour at night as announced by the board. According to the schedule released by the CEB, the daytime brackets will be from 8:30 am to 11:30 am, 11:30 to 2:30 pm or from 2:30 to 5:30 pm. During the night, power cuts have been scheduled in the following brackets from 6:30 pm to 7:30 pm, 7:30 pm to 8:30 pm or 8:30 to 9:30 pm. The Public Utilities Commission says that the Ceylon Electricity Board has not yet been permitted to implement a scheduled power cut. According to the Commission, permission must be obtained if the CEB is to implement scheduled power cuts.
No permission has been sought from the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka to implement these power cuts. We request the consumers to provide the Commission with information on the power cuts that they experienced until the 18th of this month. The Commission hopes to file legal action against this move. There were proposals to construct power plants, like the Sampur power plant. We warn that there will be a power crisis by the year 2019 and 2020. Tenders for the construction of a 320 megawatt power plant in Keravalapitia were opened in 2017. They have not even thought about constructing this power plant. The matter has been taken to court, but there is an annual increase of demand for power by 150 megawatts. That means every 3 to 4 years we must construct a 500 megawatt power plant. This capacity cannot be generated even through the hydropower plants, wind power plant and even through the Norotchole power plant. Does the CEB have a plan to come out of this darkness? No. The only action they took was to purchase power at exorbitant rates from private power generators and line their pockets in the process. Otherwise, they implemented power cuts. Our question is, do you need a CEB just to cut off power? One generator that was bought when they saw this imminent power crisis has been fixed on the ground. We asked them if they at least have a plan for the next year. No, they do not have a plan for the upcoming year.
Meanwhile, a discussion on the power crisis was held at the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy today.
The dry season and the drought paved the way to purchase power from private power plants that are owned by their friends. Water is scarce, and this results in insufficient hydropower generation. Therefore, to fill in the shortfall, power is being purchased from private power plants to exorbitant prices. The connection between the CEB and these private power plants is no secret. For 4 years, not a single power project proposed during my cabinet tenure has been approved yet. What's the reason for this? It's a competition between commissions. The competition is within the government, so we are compelled to proceed with emergency power purchases. This will result in the increase of power prices. Power will only be generated when there is rainfall. If so, why do we need a government in the first place?
Let's now take a look at the cartoon of the day by Asanka Latwahetti. Investment projects, including the proposed oil refinery in Hambantota, were the subject of a heated debate in Parliament today.
International media says that the government of Oman has no connection to this, but the BOI says that they are currently in the phase of discussions. However, the foundation stone was laid while discussions were still underway. The transaction is with an organization named Silver Park International Private Limited. On the 10th of November 2016, a cabinet paper was submitted. They give out 400 acres and said that this is the biggest investment in the history of the country. The company was established in June 2017. They said it even before the company was established. Now they have made a company called Silver Park Petroleum, but this company was established on the 21st of February 2019. Then the Singaporean company was registered in Singapore 4 months after you had granted cabinet approval for this. Did you get an environmental assessment report? The Bundala Bird Sanctuary. Was this matter investigated? The Hambantota Salterns. When the byproducts of the cement factory goes and settles on the Salterns, there won't be any Salterns in Hambantota anymore. This is a complete lie.
පරිසර තක්සේරු වාර්තාවක් ගත්තද බූන්දර කුරුළු වන උද්‍යානයේ ඒ පිළිබඳ පරීක්ෂණයක් කෙරුවද හම්බන්තොට ලේවාය සිමෙන්ති කර්මාන්ත ශාලාව තුල එන ඩස්ට් එක ගිහලා ලේවායට වැදුනම ලේවායේ මිදුනම කර සභාපතිතුමනි හම්බන්තොට ලේවායක් නැති වෙනවා මේ සම්පූර්ණ කරන්නේ බොරුවක්
මේ ආයෝජනය බොහොම පැහැදිලිවම ශ්‍රී ලංකා ආයෝජන මණ්ඩලයේ ක්‍රමවේද අනුව තමයි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරලා තියෙන්නේ
සිල්වා පාක් ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් කියන සමාගම ලියාපදිංචි කරපු දවස කියන්න
දැන් මෙතුමාලා කලින් කතා කරා ඕමාන් සමාගමක් සම්බන්ධ නැහැ කියලා දැන් ඕමාන් රටේ කනිජ තෙල් ඇමතුමා
First they shouted saying that there is no involvement of the Oman government. Now, when the Oman minister came to the country, they are shedding crocodile tears.
අපි පැහැදිලිවම කියනවා මේ ඉඩම් අක්කර 200ක් මිරිජ්ජවිල ප්‍රදේශයනොත් ඒ වගේම වඩ අවස්ථාව දෙන්න ඉතුරු අක්කර 400 මහවැලි අධිකාරියට ආයති ඉඩනුත් තරම් දෙනවා ඒක පැහැදිලිවම පරිසර වාර්තා අධ්‍යයනයන් කරනවා ඔබතුමාලා කලබල වෙන්න.
We clearly state that these plots of land, 200 acres in Mirijjawala and the remaining 400 acres, have been taken from lands belonging to the Mahaweli Authority. We are conducting environment assessments on the matters. There is no need for you to panic.
ඔබතුමා ලුණු ලේවාය ගැන කියනවා ඒ වගේම බුන්දල වනෝද්‍යාන ගැන කියනවා එහෙනම් ඔබතුමාලා හම්බන්තොට වරාය
You speak about the Salterns. You also spoke about the Bundala Sanctuary. Then how did you construct the Hambantota port?
Please, ඔබතුමාගේ ඔය pipeline එක ගෙනියන්නේ හම්බන්තොට ඉස්පිරිතාලේ මැදින් අඩු ගානේ මිරිජ්ජවලට ගිහිලා තියෙනවද? ගිහිලා බලන්නකෝ ලේවායස්යෙන් කොහෙද pipeline එක කියන එකේ petrol ගෙනියන්න. මේ සමාගම පීඩෝපු දවස කියන්න.
Your pipeline goes right through the Hambantota hospital. Have you at least gone to Mirijjawala? Go and see how you can put a pipeline through a Saltern to carry petrol. Tell me the date on which this company was established.
ඕමානු රජයත් එක්ක ඔබතුමාලාගේ දෙන ගනුදෙනුව මේ සමාගමත් එක්ක දෙන ගනුදෙනුව මොකක්ද? බොරු කියන්න බෑ මතුමා.
What is your deal with the government of Oman? What are the dealings you have with this company? Don't lie, minister. Don't lie.
බොරු කියන්න එපා. order please. ලැජ්ජ නැද්ද? නිදම් මංගල ගන්න අක්කර 400ක්.
Just because you took up a ministerial portfolio, please don't shout like a fool. Look into matters before you speak. Aren't you ashamed to steal 400 acres of land?
කුරුල්ලන්ට ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙනවා නම් ලුණු ලේවායට ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙනවා නම් මෙතන වරායක් හැදුවේ මොනවටද එයාපෝට් එකක් හැදුවේ මොනවටද?
If the birds are affected and if the Salterns are affected, why did you build a harbour and an airport here? We are happy that you are shedding crocodile tears regarding these investments. You are acting in rage and jealousy. I responsibly state that this cement factory will be constructed here in 18 months. On that day you will have to cry. These people have nothing to say after the Minister of Oil in Oman came to the country yesterday. The main investor of this project is in India. There is nothing that we want to hide. To reap the benefits of the free trade agreement, this investor is setting up a company in Singapore to invest in Sri Lanka. They are bearing 70% of the costs, and the government of Oman has agreed to cover the remaining 30%. But we know that you had tried to influence these investors to stop this project. You had asked these investors as to why they are in such a rush. You had said, why are you in a rush? Be patient for a while. We will come into power in 6 months, then we can do this. Don't start to cry now. Honorable former President, you should take credit for this, saying that it is because we built this port that these sort of investments are coming in. After the Minister of Oil in Oman came to the country, they are attacking Nandana Lokuvitana.
එල්ලමතිවට පස්සේ දැන් අල්ලගෙන සිමෙන්ති කර්මාන්ත ශාලාවේ නන්දන දේව ලොකුවිතාන මහත්තයා අල්ලගෙන යාට ගහනවා. අර ඩුබායි මැරියට් නන්දන අර එදා දවසේ ගරු සභාපතිතුමනි මට මතකයි ඒ වගේ නමක් කියලා මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ ආණ්ඩුවට මඩ ගහන්න මහින්ද මහත්තයාගේ ගෙනුම් ටික තියෙන්නේ මැරියට් හෝටලේ අයිතිය තියෙන්නේ නන්දන ලොකුවිතාන කියලා එක්කෙනෙක් ගැන කිව්වා.
You mean the Dubai Marriott Nandana? Honourable Chairman, I can remember a similar name was mentioned to sling mud at the government of Mahinda Rajapaksa. They said a person by the name of Nandan Lokubitana owned the Marriott Hotel. When he invests during the time of Mahinda Rajapaksa, he is a thief. But when he invests when their government is in power, he is a respectable Sinhala Buddhist businessman. How about that? Any number of ministers can come as special guests. They can lay as many foundation stones as they want. I think this was an attack on Ranil Wickremesinghe as well. They marked the start of a massive lie on the day of his birthday using his own two hands.
එතුමාගේ උපන්දිනේම දවසේම ලොකුම බොරුවක් කරන්න එතුමා අතින්ම මුල් ගලක් තියුවා. පුද්ගලික සමාගමක් රුපියල් මිලියන 720ක් වියදම් කරනවද බොරුවක් කරන්න? පුද්ගලික සමාගමක්.
Former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank P. Samarasiri, Chairman of Perpetual Treasuries Limited Geoffrey Aloysius and 3 directors of PTL who were arrested in connection to the Central Bank bond scam were remanded until the 5th of April. The suspects were produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Lanka today.
Geoffrey Aloysius is the father of Arjun Aloysius, who was arrested and remanded over the bond scam and was later released on bail. PTL directors Pushpa Mitra Gunawardena, Chitra Ranjan Hulugalda and Muthuraja Surendran were also arrested today. Counsel for the 5 suspects sought bail for their clients from the Colombo Chief Magistrate Lanka Jayarathne under any bail condition. The attorneys requested bail be granted, citing the suspects had supported the CID in the investigations. President's counsel Nadine Laduahetti, appearing for the 10th suspect in the case, former Deputy Governor P. Samarasiri, informed court his client served as a tender board chairman on the 27th of February 2015, the day of the controversial bond issue, and he and other officials only acted according to the instructions and orders given by then Governor Arjuna Mahendran. He pointed out Samarasiri retired in August 2017 after an untamed service of 40 years. The Chief Magistrate noted the charges against the suspects are under Article 56 of the Registered Stocks and Securities Ordinance, and the magistrate can grant bail to the suspects. However, the bond scam has caused massive losses to the government. Therefore, she said the suspects would be remanded, taking into account the public uproar that could arise if the suspects were granted bail. The former governor of the central bank, Arjuna Mahendran, has also been named as a suspect in this case. Courts have issued an open warrant and a red notice has been issued by the Interpol to bring him back to Sri Lanka. The Interpol has issued a red notice and the relevant officials have been informed in this regard. These officials have informed our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the relevant documents are currently being exchanged in this regard. We are following the extradition law.
උදර්පිත හෝ පලායිත තැනැත්තන් පිළිබඳ නීතිය නැත extradition law එක අනුව කටයුතු කරයි.
Following are the views expressed by UPFA MP Arundika Fernando in Parliament today.
Today at 5:30 in the morning, the CID attempted to arrest the former director of the Perpetual Treasuries, Pahan Hulugala, at the Shangri-La Apartments. He was also appointed as the director of Lake House by Ruwan Vijayawardena. This individual attempted to escape and was taken into custody near the rail gate near the temple trees. He was heading towards the temple trees. That is the state of this government.
A number of projects under the Pibidemu Polonnaruwa District Development Programme was vested with the public today. The events were held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena.
A pool constructed at the Hinguranketa Ananda Balika National School was declared open by the President today. The project was completed at a cost of 45 million rupees. President Sirisena also declared open an auditorium and a 3-storied building at the Minneria National School. It was constructed at a cost of 60 million rupees.
ලබන වාරයේ වෙනකොට මේ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ තවත් පාසල් 4ක් ජාතික පාසල් බවට මම පත් කරන්න මේ වෙනුවට නිර්දේශය ලබා දීලා තිබෙනවා.
I have already recommended for 4 more schools in this district to be named as national schools. All of this will be provided for the betterment of the children. Just like passing examinations, everyone has to face the challenges in succeeding in their lives. The challenges that you face in life are not easy ones. In a commercialized world and a society destroyed by drugs and other material activities, parents must invest a lot of their time to protect their children from these things. The President also declared open a new classroom at the Hinguraggoda Aluth Oya Primary School. The President's Media Division said that the President also focused his attention on other facilities that the school lacked. The President's Media Division said that the President also focused his attention on other facilities that the school lacked.
President Maithripala Sirisena, speaking at an event at the Royal College in Polonnaruwa, spoke about the Grade 5 scholarship examination. The President was speaking at the event to declare open a newly constructed auditorium at the college.
I am speaking after perusing all the relevant documentation. A majority of the students who are in universities are not students who have passed the Grade 5 scholarship examination. Only 14% of the students who have passed the scholarship exam go to university. Even Mr. Guerrero, I think, will agree to the fact that there is a problem with regard to the Grade 5 scholarship exam. Psychologically and even according to the education science, the scholarship exam does more harm than good for the students. I have proposed and the government has taken a decision to cancel the Grade 5 scholarship examination.
Construction work on the bridge of the Thalvila estuary in Maravilla commenced today.
The bridge that is constructed to connect Thalvila, Maravilla and Thoduwawa is estimated to cost 4,500 million rupees. The coastal bed that the villagers use to fulfill their daily transportation purposes floods completely during the high tide and the rainy season. During this period, the villagers are forced to carry out their daily tasks, risking their lives with the use of a ferry or with support of the Navy.
I was given an opportunity to make a speech when the President visited Puttlam last Friday. There I pointed out the tragedy that has befallen the Puttlam district. It has been 71 years since we gained independence. 73 budget proposals have been presented. Little or no attention has been given to the Puttlam district. This district has not seen prosperity. All that Puttlam gets is what the rest of Sri Lanka discards. If iron or lead needs to be heated, it is brought here. If battery acid is used, it is brought to Puttlam. They are attempting to dispose the garbage in Puttlam. Only a very few good things ever come to Puttlam. At one point there were 16 cabinet ministers from this district. Now I am merely a parliament minister. Remember that I have spoken 121 times of this bridge. At one point I was fed up of politics. If our leaders don't take steps to complete the task, how can we face it? How will our organizers face people in their villages?
The prosecution and the defence in the case filed against former UNP General Secretary Tissa Attanayake for forging documents have agreed to resolve the matter. The Attorney General and the counsel appearing for the defendant informed Colombo High Court Judge Bikum Kaluarachi in this regard.
Counsel appearing for the Prime Minister and the President named as the first and second witnesses informed court that they have no objections towards the agreement reached between the prosecution and the defence. The case will be called upon again on the 4th of April. Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris appearing on behalf of Attorney General, while President's counsel Kalinga in the Tissa appeared on behalf of the defendant. The case filed charged that Attanayake fraudulently used the signatures of the President and the Prime Minister in a document presented to the media during the previous presidential elections as an attempt to incite racism.
It's important to pay attention to the request of your party supporters. I believe that the party must have understood what the people request. I'm not sure as to what decision will be taken by the UNP. However, one thing is clear. If the party does not give the change the people request for, this will cause major issues.
The foundation stone was laid to build a new building at the Dhamma School in the Suryavava Viharagala ancient temple in Hambantota.
The event was held under the auspices of UNP Deputy Leader Minister Sajith Premadasa. This building is being built at the cost of 4 million rupees under the Sisudaham 7 program based on provisions of the Central Cultural Fund.
The first step on our program was to build 250 Dhamma schools across the nation. As the second step, we will be constructing 500 halls. For our third round, I'm happy to inform that we will be definitely forming 1,000 Dhamma schools. We can be happy of our efforts on taking steps to set an example as practical followers of Buddhism rather than boasting about it. We can be satisfied of our efforts.
5.5 acres of land that was held by the army for more than 30 years was officially handed over to its original owners. This event took place at the Eastern Province Governor's Secretariat today.
Commander of the Security Forces East, Major General Arunajaya Sekara, handed over the relevant documents to the Governor of the Eastern Province, MLAM Hizbullah. Half an acre from Periyanilaveli in the Ampara Kalmune Divisional Secretariat, 3 acres from Kuchaveli in the Trincomalee Divisional Secretariat, and 2 acres from state land from Tirukovil in Ampara were handed over to their original owners. We should be thankful to the Army, Navy and the Air Force for ending the 30-year war and for the peace we enjoy today. There is talk on social media that the releasing of these lands is a threat to national and local security. The Army has decided that it is not a threat to the security of this country. That is why they are releasing these lands. Therefore, this is not a problem. The lands were handed over based on the decision taken by the Army.
The Australian Embassy held an event today to commemorate the Commonwealth war graves.
Navy officers from the HMAS Canberra and HMAS Newcastle who arrived in Sri Lanka on the 23rd of March laid flower wreaths and paid their respects to the graves of fallen Commonwealth officers at the General Cemetery in Borella, Colombo. A prayer service was also held at the location.
For those who died and those who...
It's been 6 months and 15 days since an attempt to transfer a large amount of money due to Sri Lanka cricket for awarding broadcasting rights was revealed. Here's a look back at the controversial incident.
The ICC is the largest financer of Sri Lanka cricket. Among the other means of income at SLC, funds received for awarding broadcasting rights brings in the largest amount of money. However, it was revealed that there was an attempt to transfer such a large sum of money due to Sri Lanka cricket to a separate account. The fact as to if the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Operations Officer at the institution carried out their duties properly at this instance is questionable. One of the main reasons for this is the fact that the head of the financial division was allowed to single-handedly handle this massive financial transaction. All discussions on the matter were conducted via electronic mail. On the 10th of September last year, we reported the details of the attempt to transfer $5.5 million due to Sri Lanka cricket for the broadcasting rights of the Tour of England to a separate bank account. When the incident was further investigated, it was revealed that the final installment due for the Tour of South Africa had also been transferred to a separate account. The fact that responsible officials at the SLC realized that they had not received a sum of $187,084.75 after the lapse of 1 month and 10 days is also befuddling. The Chief Executive Officer admitted that an official of a company owned by the former president of SLC had also signed off on the deal. He has worked on it. Yes, he has. He has worked for the former president. The incident is further complicated as even 6 months and 15 days after this massive revelation was made, officials of Sri Lanka cricket had not clarified facts on the issue or even commented on the current status of investigations into the matter.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. For the News First team, I'm Dasni Athade. Good night.